for On the Mantle kept me guessing throughout. It starts off with what I think is a panic attack, but and the makeup choices, the dark shadow on the eyes or the brown shadow on the eyes, it had this woman always appearing sickly in a way, but you never really are really sure what it is. But that first panic attack scene that starts off is just such a beautiful display of love. Such a beautiful display of love. You really got a sense of what this couple is and what they meant to each other, and how he is, the source of support, source in the rock for this woman to pick her up in her weakest times. And you got that right away, right from that interaction. She has this fear about coming forward about her pregnancy because of health issues. And, that stuff are very relatable, feeling that women have. And then finding the courage to come forward when she realized she's not the only one in the family that has the baby. The barbecue is just such a beautiful symbolism of family coming together. It's in that moment where you get to see, the love of this family showcased, just the camaraderie between these two mothers to be, between these two fathers to be, the matriarch of the family, and the announcement of the pregnancies, and how this was all this a beautiful moment and a happy moment for everyone. There were a few moments of foreshadowing that I thought were very expertly placed. The cooking of the egg, at the moment, I'm like, I know this means something. He's burning this egg. He's kind of in a trance with this egg. But I didn't understood what it meant until the end. But that was a wonderful device for foreshadowing. And then the boiling water. To speak about the boiling water, to kind of that cut between the boiling water and the miscarriage was a fantastic display of cinematography and symbolism, and the boiling over, something not being fully right inside. It wasn't apparent to me what the result of the miscarriage was at first. So I didn't gather right away that we had lost our main character. But it all comes together in the scene where he comes home alone and he has to clean up. And I think with miscarriages, it's so often we hear about them from a female point of view of having to deal with it. But this was different because this was the male point of view of having to deal with it, being the strong one, but also having to deal with, not only did I lose the baby, I lost my wife. It was a very emotional performance from this actor in this scene with his mother. And, in that scene, seeing his level of emotion and cleaning up the blood makes it very clear to me, okay, so she didn't make it. And then now I sympathize with him in that moment of sort of letting go, and letting it out. And you get a sense that he probably was the strong one the whole time in the hospital, the strong one when listening to the doctors. And it felt like this was the first moment he had allowed himself to just crumble. But very telling and touching performance there from that actor. And then, the family, which has already been established as this unit, coming forward in the months after to try to pick him out of his depressed state, which he is, his grief has put him in. And the barbecue being that symbol yet again for the family, so coming together and bringing him back to himself. And the moment he decides to go on the grill and kind of go back to the things that he used to love is symbolic that, after tragedy, life does go on. Even if you're not ready for it to, you do have to find your way back to some semblance of normalcy. And I just saw that the symbolism the emotional capacity of the actors in this film was very, very heightened and very apparent, and it was a lovely story.
For On the Mantle, I thought this was really, really beautiful. Obviously, it's a really intense film. Um, a lot happens in it, and a lot of really big, impactful things. From pregnancy to announcements to unfortunate life happens, miscarriage, and death eventually, ultimately. And I thought that they had such an interesting perspective on it, with showing the harder aspects of the morning sickness and the fear and the anxiety that can come along with finding out that you're pregnant. It's not all, happy and smiles and everything. It can involve that as well, obviously, but there are other aspects to it, and especially if you don't have kids, the transition from not being a parent to being a parent can be a lot to transition to, a lot to kind of take in and really accept and settle that within yourself. So I really liked that it didn't just focus on her and her story, that it had a lot of him and his perspective throughout the entire thing from the very beginning. And then you see, as time goes on, just how much family really rallies around them, not only when they first announce and even before they announce. Obviously their family is very close, they get together often, but then obviously after everything happens, how close they still are, how much family really does just rally and is there. And I thought it was so beautiful, and such a beautiful way to kind of highlight the importance of surrounding yourself with those people that will rally around you, and that when things are hard, when things are almost unbearable, that's who you turn to, that's who's there, that's who shows up. And I thought that was beautiful.
This was a really well done film. There's just a keen filmmaking sensibility here. So fantastic direction off the start. The cinematography too. The choice to use so much handheld, I think, was the right choice, and it was executed well here. It just felt like we were another person there. Like it made things more personal, and for a story like this, that's exactly what you want. So I think it was the absolute right choice again, and executed well. Editing too, really strong job there. Just kept the pace going for something that could have been really slow. It didn't feel that way at all. So it was really, again, strong filmmaking here, good performances too, and good writing is really everything you could ask for. So hats off, and everyone involved should be really proud of this one.
This film is called On the Mantle. This was a heart-wrenching yet beautiful film. A couple has been trying to get pregnant and experience loss and tragedy. What sets this film apart is the incredible, sensitive performances of the cast, especially the lead couple. They really pull off their love for one another. The supporting cast is also very sensitive to the couple situation. The camera work and soundtrack are really intimate and well done, especially during the group barbecue scenes and the kitchen floor scene. Wow, so sad. Very suitable locations of their homes, including the mantelpiece. I appreciate the special credit at the end, in memoriam of those lost too soon. Well done.
This is for the short film On the Mantle. Wow, this is a really such a deep and powerful piece, and super sad. But I mean, unfortunately, this type of thing happens, probably more than we know. I thought there were some interesting camera shots, and the type of movement they did with the camera, having it be shaky, I think made me feel more like a fly on the wall. I don't love those types of shots because they make me a little dizzy. But I understood that it helped make me feel like I am watching this happen, like from their window or the other room, because it did make me feel like I was a fly on the wall in these really intimate moments, and also like some of the really up close shots on the hand or the eyes, specific moments that they took to do that really had more of an intimate feel. It made you feel more like you were involved in, what they were feeling. The acting was good. I think especially the lead actor, I thought he did really well. Everyone had really good moments and special moments and nice moments in this. I love that there wasn't an overuse of music. I don't really remember much music until the end, actually, and I really don't think it was needed in this. Some films I think it is, but this one, I just felt like everything really was thought out really well and moved along at a great pace and didn't really need that until they had it in there, actually, toward the end. Honestly, I think that's about it. I like the directing and the acting. I thought, wow, this is just really kind of tough to watch, but just very well done and should do very well. So good job, everyone.
Four on the Mantle was a really beautiful story, and I think it's one that a lot of women, a lot of couples know really well, and it isn't talked about that much because of how heart-wrenching a lot of issues surrounding infertility and miscarriage are. I think this short addresses it really well from a beautifully emotional standpoint that gets really intimate with this couple who act out such a difficult story very well. And, with it being such an intimate topic, I think a majority of the story also being within their household and showing, those four on the mantle, it makes those moments so much more heartbreaking because we've come to be invited into these characters' lives and into their homes, and we feel like we know them. And I think that's great cinematography, that's great framing. It adds like symbolism into the story as a whole, and it just makes it so much more difficult to watch. But overall, it's still such a beautiful story, and I'm glad that it's being told in such a beautiful and compassionate way. So you really have to be proud of that. Just really, really well done.